Hi, I'm Carmen.
And I'm Stephen, and this is Vienna Past and Present,
where we walk through the gilded and sometimes not so gilded halls of Vienna's history. So, today we're talking about the Florentine Diamond, a jewel so famous and so valuable and so historically important that it completely disappeared for 100 years or so.
And people were convinced. There was even evidence, kind of, that it had disappeared.
Allegedly, right? Because, as it turns out, it was never actually lost. It was in a cardboard suitcase in Canada.
Of course it was. So you may be wondering, wait, was Canada part of the Habsburg Empire for like 2 weeks because of a marriage one time? Or did the diamond float there on one of Austria's handful of ill-fated colonial boats? You know, with the Habsburgs and all the versions of Austria-Hungary involved over time here, you're asking the right questions. You kind of never know. But allow me to point you in the right direction. Do you think your family keeps too many secrets? Not to take your mother's side right now, but this episode just might put things into perspective for you. Because they don't, okay? These people do. So, Carmen, what can you tell us?
So, there's a lot about this story that isn't really known or has only recently become public, but let's start with the things that we do know. So, what is the Florentine Diamond and what is the Florence-Vienna connection? Because this is a podcast about Vienna, right? So, why are we talking about a Florentine Diamond?
We stray, but we're straying extra far this week.
But we are going to bring it back. So, the basics are that the Florentine Diamond is a 137-carat diamond, which sounds massive. I mean, from the photos I've seen, it is massive. What is like a normal carat amount for a diamond?
I don't know. I feel like I know what like a 2-carat or maybe like a 4-carat, and it just kind of looks kind of huge to me. Beyond that, I have no concept.
137 carats just is sort of astronomical, I think.
I don't know. Yeah, like a size of a grapefruit or something.
I guess that's why this thing is famous. So it's 137 carats, and it is prized for its pear shape and yellow hue. It's apparently a very clear yellow hue, which was once described as, quote, wine mixed tenfold with water.
And that is a very Austrian description, I think. Mixing water with white wine is kind of a thing you do there, and I was skeptical when they first put water in the wine, but it's worth trying. So, I'm not going to tell you try it.
Yes, we're all about the Spritzwein around here. But, I mean, 10 parts water to 1 part wine is like at least 7 parts too little wine for the Austrian conception of what the ratio should be. So, I mean, wine mixed tenfold with water. I mean, that's just water, basically. Mm-hmm. But okay. Anyway, we were talking about a diamond and not wine.
Yeah, oops. Anyway.
So the stone's name, right? We already mentioned Florentine Diamond. Why are we talking about Florence? The name comes from its association with the Medici family in Florence, which was the banking dynasty that rose to such great wealth and power between the 14th and 18th centuries that they pretty much kind of helped invent the Renaissance while they were climbing the political ladder.
Yeah, I'm sure most of us have heard that name. So, of course, the diamond itself, it didn't originate in Italy. Its actual origins are disputed, but the best guess is that it came from India. Probably the sorry in advance, Vijayanagar Kingdom near the modern-day site of Hampi. So at some point that passed to the Portuguese governor of Goa, which is kind of nearby. That establishes the India-Europe connection. From there, it went to the Medicis, the Grand Dukes of Tuscany. They bought it. They had it recut in 1615. So already quite a chain of ownership before it even got to Vienna.
Yeah, and total digression, but Hampi is an amazing place for anybody visiting India. I know we're not actually talking about India, but I have been there, and it's really a very cool place.
Okay, very cool. I've not heard of that name until today, so on the list.
I don't think it's super well known, but it's worth a visit.
Anyway, so that's how it made its way to Europe, into the Medici treasures, and they hold on to it there until the death of their last heir. There were large population losses in Florence and Tuscany as a whole, lots of confusing infighting between the different political actors that leads to the end of the dynasty. And what next, Carmen?
Right, so the way that actually looks is that when the last Medici dies, Tuscany is up for grabs, right? They were the Grand Dukes of Tuscany when that heir, when there is no further heir. Now people don't really know what's going on with Tuscany. At the same time, you have the War of Polish Succession, which was a conflict that is so confusing. I mean, honestly, I read up on it, but I mean, I'm confused to this day. Anyway, a royal succession dispute in Poland somehow results in half of Europe swapping territories around like they're playing some game of hot potato. And in this whole kind of territorial reshuffle that happens as a result, Tuscany ends up with Francis Stephen, who is the husband of Maria Theresia, the Habsburg Empress.
And yeah, listen, this will continue to get more confusing. And that's just what's happening at this point in history. It's the Holy Roman Empire, which I swear is confusing by design. We'll give you a little more taste of how chaotic it was. So Francis Stephen, the new husband of Maria Theresia we just mentioned, he's not a Medici. He's from Lorraine, that's between France and Germany. As compensation for losing Lorraine in the Polish War of Succession, he gets Tuscany, and that's in 1738.
Right. So
okay, are you following? I'm not either.
I mean, sort of.
Okay, but just listen, we'll wake you up when it's over in a couple minutes.
I think the long and short of it is there's a bunch of territories being swapped around, and somehow...
Yes. Unintuitive swapping.
And somehow he loses Lorraine, which is where he's from, but gets Tuscany instead, which he has, like, no connection to.
Sure.
But whatever. Okay.
Right.
All right, so he gets Tuscany in 1738. 2 years before that, in 1736, he had married Maria Theresia. And so, As a result of that, because they're married, the Florentine Diamond now enters into Habsburg possession when he becomes the Grand Duke of Tuscany, right?
Right, because it's like sitting there in Tuscany. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, this is just one of his many titles. So to add like a little bit more confusion, or maybe clarity, I don't know, to the story, Maria Theresia and Francis Stephen are the parents of Maria Antonia, who comes to be known much more famously as Marie Antoinette. So that's a different story.
Oh.
But so
yeah.
Marie Antoinette is part of this dynasty as well.
Right. So we're going to resist the massive, tempting tangent of Marie Antoinette. We won't do that right now. So the Habsburgs, they take possession of the diamond. It's added to the crown jewels in the Hofburg. That's the Habsburg main palace in Vienna. Then Francis Stephen becomes Holy Roman Emperor a couple years later. And then the diamond is actually set in his crown.
Yeah. And then nothing happens. I mean...
Yeah, like really nothing-ish, okay? There's a lot of excitement. It grinds to a halt. For 150 years, the Florentine Diamond just sits quietly in the imperial treasury, being very large, very faintly yellow. And we can all relax until dramatic music.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, things finally get interesting again in the 20th century with the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire after World War I. So at this stage, Maria Theresia and Francis Stephen are long gone, and the borders of the empire have significantly changed at this point as well.
Yeah, so the outbreak of the war at this point, Franz Josef is on the throne. We've mentioned him before. It's like we're weaving some threads together at this point in our show. I kind of love that. Anyway, he's been ruling for 68 years at this point in the story.
Yeah, Franz Josef comes up a lot because he was around forever.
Yeah, half of the imperial history.
Yeah. Right. I mean, he saw some shit in his lifetime. Yeah. Right, so of course his nephew is Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the throne, who very famously gets assassinated in Sarajevo in 1914, which I think is probably the one thing that everybody somehow knows about World War I.
Yeah.
And that is the spark that ignites the war. And as a little bit of an aside here, if you want to read a really atmospheric account of this period, I just recently read the book Thunder at Twilight by Frederick Morton, and it's really good. It's super nicely written. It gives a real good sense of like what's happening in Vienna and in the empire at this time. So it gives like a really good sense of the chaos, the confusion, the mood, how things are shifting. But anyway, that's just a book recommendation.
Anyway, so his nephew is assassinated. Due to that, some other deaths. The throne ultimately passes to Franz Josef's great-nephew, Charles I of Austria. This is in 1916. He's the last Habsburg emperor. It's a short reign. Austria loses the war, spoiler alert, and the empire collapses in 1918. Then you have the Republic. So Charles I, that last emperor, he knows things are going badly. He has the Florentine Diamond removed from the treasury and sent to Switzerland shortly before his reign ends.
And as these things so often go somehow, the new republic banishes him for life, and so he follows the diamond into exile in Switzerland. And yeah, being an emperor is good until it isn't, right? When the monarchy collapses, you're in a bit of trouble.
You really need to get out, it seems.
Yeah, you gotta bounce. Can't just be hanging around. And so for some reason, everybody always ends up in Switzerland. The Italian royal family also winds up in exile in Switzerland after World War II. Okay. So a little while later, but this is a thing. Maybe it's because of the low taxes, the tight security.
The fondue.
And they have the fondue, the raclette.
Yeah, that's right.
maybe also their reputation for hiding gold and other valuables plays a part.
Could be, that. Yeah.
All right, now that I think about it, I think it's the fondue. It makes sense.
Anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes off to Switzerland. That's the point.
Yeah, so Charles, he spends his next years in Switzerland with the diamond. He's trying unsuccessfully to reclaim the throne. The Austrian Republic is not happy about that. He gets further exiled. I guess you can get exiled again. So this time he goes to Madeira in 1921, and he dies there the next year of pneumonia.
Right. So when Charles dies, the diamond reportedly comes into the possession of his widow, which was Empress Zita, which is such a good name.
She's good
got
name.
One of the better Habsburg names, for sure. So Empress Zita comes into possession of the diamond, but already by 1921, so that's actually even before Charles dies, there was speculation that the diamond had vanished. And this was reported even by the Washington Post. They had an article at that time saying that it was missing and, kind of nobody knew where this diamond was.
Yeah, I guess, diamond news, it's kind of always sexy.
It always works, yeah.
So despite those reports of the disappearance, Italy tries to make a claim for the diamond the next year. But the Inter-Allied Reparations Committee after World War I, they say no. They consider the diamond to be private Habsburg property, which I think is kind of interesting.
Yeah. The public at that time assumed that the diamond was lost or sold. And since it was never seen again, everyone just kind of accepts that. And it more or less kind of fades out of, public view.
Yeah. So at this point, end of World War I, right? It's interwar Europe. They're busy with a lot of stuff. Lots going on. Meanwhile, Empress Zita and her exiled children, they bounce around the continent. First they're in Spain, then they're in Belgium. It's after, the other locations.
Right. So I think they're in Belgium, from like 1929 or so. And so they're hanging out there. And then as the Nazis rise to power in Germany, Zita and her oldest son Otto become very vocal opponents to the Nazi regime. And Otto even offers his services to the Austrian Republic, which makes him an enemy of the state after the Anschluss in 1938. So they're not, aside from the fact that they're sort of not welcome anyway because, they've been banished as the royal family, they're now like vocally opposing the new regime. And the Nazis, they didn't deal with political opponents with kids' gloves, like, you're putting yourself in some danger with that.
Right. Then the Nazis claim all Habsburg property for themselves. So Zita, fearing this, German invasion of Belgium, good thinking on her part, she flees to the United States with her 8 children. So that's like, exile level 10 at this point, okay?
With 8 children, I
know,
Jesus
crazy.
Christ.
Yeah. Like, you lose the Hofburg, like, where are you going to put all these kids?
Well, it was very good timing anyway, because Germany does indeed invade Belgium in 1940, so they got out just before that. And they go to the US, but right after that, they move on to Canada, and they ultimately settle in Quebec. And so throughout all of this, everyone just kind of assumes that she probably sold the diamond to survive exile.
Yeah.
And maybe that it even got cut into smaller stones, was resold, whatever. That's, it's kind of disappeared. Everybody assumes it was somehow sold to kind of finance all of this.
Yeah, and that makes complete sense, right? It's like, I don't know, you would be thinking about your assets at that point, and I really wonder how she funded any of this stuff. That would be an interesting deep dive, maybe not an episode, but I really wonder.
It is a good question. I do assume some jewelry got sold or some...
like favors and, yeah. Anyway, they start to see possible evidence that the stone has been cut up and, was lost, right? In 1981, there's a yellow diamond about half the size of the Florentine diamond. It comes up for auction, and there's speculation then that it might be from the original stone. So this is not just like, oh, well, we wonder and we assume. Like, there are little bits of maybe evidence here and there.
But no one really knows, because as far as anybody really can tell, the Florentine diamond is long gone. It has not been seen in a long time.
Until now.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, a few months ago. Yeah. Okay.
Not right this instant.
Okay. Next episode, we're practicing that. Our dramatic transitions.
Yeah, but that needs work.
A few months ago. So a few months ago, it turned up.
Yes, the Florentine diamond resurfaced just recently and made international news. Primarily, the New York Times ran a story on it, which got a lot of attention.
Yeah, and the biggest twist is that it was just never really lost, right? So apparently, Empress Zita hid it spectacularly well. She brought a cardboard suitcase with her to North America, and she carried the diamond around in that.
Which doesn't seem very secure for a transatlantic journey. Cardboard is gonna, dissolve.
No, and I mean, I get trying to make it unassuming and, not draw attention, but don't get something that, can get watery and, collapse. I mean, that's just what I think of as cardboard suitcase. She's overdoing the unassumingness.
Yeah, slightly sturdier
anyway.
Seems like it would be a good idea.
I guess she was right, but...
So yeah, it works, and once in Canada, she places the diamond in a bank safe in Quebec, and to really maintain secrecy and privacy and, kind of protect the status of this diamond, she only told 2 of her sons that the diamond even still existed, and she made them promise not to reveal anything for at least 100 years after Charles's death.
Okay, and they actually followed these directions. Here's another bombshell, right? So Charles died in 1922, remember, of pneumonia, in Madeira. So the diamond's existence was only allowed to be revealed after 2022, according to Zita's rules, which I guess everybody is respecting here.
Yeah. These 2 sons, in turn, only told their own sons right before they were dying. And so at any given time over the last 100 plus years, only 2 male Habsburg heirs ever knew the truth. So, I mean, the US has Fort Knox, but the Habsburg have Zita. And, I mean, she knows how to lock that shit down.
Yes, give Zita some cardboard, okay? That is just as secure.
It's as good as Fort Knox, I mean, or better.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, so when the Habsburg family was asked for decades whether they knew anything about the jewel, most of them were honestly able to say no, which is really incredible. And you just think about how precarious all of this is, right? You only tell 2 people. They only tell them, their relatives before they die. You don't know when you're going to die very often, right? Sometimes it's sudden, right? Or sometimes you kind of lose your faculties, or there's very hard to plan around. Just before death, you're going to do X and Y. And only telling 2, this very well could have been lost.
Yeah, I mean, even when you think about, we didn't really go into it in any kind of detail, but, Zita's husband, Charles I, only became emperor because, 4 other people in line before him for the throne died in, very unexpected circumstances. Right. So, I mean, the chances that, especially in that volatile of an era, and with them in exile and moving around, I mean, it's kind of shocking that this worked.
Yeah, very.
But it does somehow work. And so just recently, Habsburg descendants, so 2 further male descendants that had the information about this diamond, they revealed that it existed, and they invited the New York Times to inspect the diamond. And there were other jewels as well. I mean, we're really talking about the Florentine Diamond here because it's kind of the most spectacular part of all of this. But there were actually some other jewels that were saved in this safe as well. But yeah. I think they were just less interesting and less speculated about. I don't think there's much of a story there. But they, revealed the existence of these things. And it has since been authenticated, and the weight and cut of the diamond match historical descriptions. It fits its original setting, and so
it's crazy.
It seems to be the real deal.
Yeah, so there it was. It was hidden in Canada in a bank vault because Empress Zita ran such a tight ship, so to speak. Now that it's all out in the open, there seems to be very little skepticism that it's the actual diamond, which is also incredible. What happens now?
So now the Habsburg family, they say they want to display the diamond in Canada for the next few years, but there may be some legal challenges. The Austrian government has already announced that it's reviewing whether the diamond could actually be state property rather than private Habsburg property.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense to me. The Habsburgs, unsurprisingly, they insist it's private property. They are citing those legal decisions. There's one in 1921, 1923, if you recall from that World War I Allied Reparations Committee. Those were rulings made when the jewel was presumed to be missing. So I guess the legality of that is not as solid, in the eyes of everyone else.
Yeah, so I think while there definitely will be some challenges, I don't know how seriously the Austrian state is going to take this. On some level, I do also assume that the Habsburg kind of looked into this beforehand, because you would think...
I would think so.
They would want to have like...
probably know some lawyers.
Yeah. And you'd think they would want a pretty rock-solid case. Ahaha, no pun intended, rock solid.
Good.
Thank you, yeah. Before they reveal this to the public, right? Because there wasn't any pressing reason to suddenly reveal this thing, right?
Yeah.
So I would think that they would have kind of secured their claim on it. But yeah, who knows? The Austrian state is reviewing it, and there may be some changes to the legal position of it. But anyway, so for now, the jewel exists. We know that it exists. It has been authenticated as real. And so after a century of silence, the story is finally coming to light.
So, all right, we're in Quebec, and there's, fabulous diamonds and stuff. We try to, but, in our show, we try to bring it to the street on Vienna. Okay. A little more grounded. I like to tell myself. So, Carmen, is this something that people in Vienna are talking about? Like, have you seen this story around? Kind of curious, like, what you think of it, and... like, do you see yourself signing a petition demanding its return or something? Dramatic like that?
I am spearheading the protests.
Yeah, I bet.
No, I mean, it is a story I think that people kind of know. A few people sent it to me, I think also because obviously they know that we do this podcast and are interested in historical things.
Right.
So a couple of people sent it to me. So I guess, obviously they saw it. But I mean, it's not something that people are... heavily discussing, or at least not in my circles.
So I'm not too shocked. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a curiosity. It's, not a huge topic of discussion, but yeah, kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. And I have seen some pictures of it, in the New York Times article. There are some pretty good
what do you think of
photos.
It? Yeah.
I mean, I think it's big. Like, it really is big. It's kind of like the whole palm of this guy's hand that's holding it.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I don't know. I never feel that these kind of things are that impressive. Maybe the photos also don't do it justice, but I think I just don't care much.
It's just like Eurovision. You don't get it.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Just be quiet.
It's a shiny rock.
Like,
okay.
Yeah, I wish we liked shiny things more. Okay, then we'd really...
I'm not impressed.
I don't really get it either.
I'm not impressed with like the yellow. I mean, like this, I don't know, worn out yellow coloring. I mean, it's.
I've always heard that that's like what you want, but I don't know that I've ever seen that. But,
is that?
Or noticed it. Yeah, I think with diamonds, like you want a little bit yellowish because that's like the best or something.
Oh. Just sounds worn out.
We are definitely the core audience for this. Okay. Yeah. And like, yeah.
I mean, look, I think it's an interesting story. I really do like the whole historical kind of connections to it and how it traveled through the empire, how it got from Florence to Vienna. All of that I find very interesting.
Right. Like to me, definitely impressive.
What do you do with a rock? What do you do with a rock that big anyway?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it found its best use as a crown jewel in the crown, the crowning of the Holy Roman Emperor. Okay, fine. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree. Definitely impressive. Definitely looks kind of fake. It's like so large that you wouldn't really know what to do with it, which, I mean, medieval kings, they knew what to do with that. Like, they would show it off and stuff, but...
Shove it in the imperial treasury and leave it there for 300 years.
But yeah, I guess I agree with you. Like, this is a little bit more... It makes me wonder more about Empress Zita than, like, me needing to see this diamond. Like, I kind of figure I know what it looks like a little bit. I'm just so impressed she got her children to agree to this 100-year promise. The story is interesting. Really cool to, hear about where this diamond went. But at this point, it's like, yeah, okay. Great. I'm glad it wasn't cut up. Like, how cool that it's there. Now put it in a case and, like, put a light on it, and I'm going to forget it exists. Right? I mean, that's my experience. Good.
Put a light on it and forget it.
Yeah, I mean, I might see it when I go to that museum again or something. Yeah.
Yeah. But I got to agree, Zita and her tight-lipped, ability to keep this thing under wraps for over 100 years, that's kind of the most impressive part somehow.
So I pulled this little bit out at the very last minute, and we added this kind of to the end. You've seen at this point, Carmen, but how much did you think this was worth? Because I was kind of scandalized when I saw the estimate for how much this was worth.
Like 20 million plus?
Priceless, of course. Yeah, I thought
Well, yeah.
100
like
million.
Tens to hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere in
Something
that range,
just crazy because it's so unlikely that there's a diamond this big and it has such a history and it's blah, blah.
Right,
So,
it's connected to the Medicis, to the Habsburg. It's like the size of this guy's hand. I mean, it's got to be super expensive,
okay.
right?
Yeah, I would think. Okay. So I saw this report. Habsburg family declined to speculate in the value of the stone in 2025. But in 2024, this is before it was found, ArtNet, I've heard of ArtNet. I don't know what ArtNet's, credibility is, honestly. So they had this feature on the whereabouts of the stone. They thought maybe its current value would be between $700,000 and $750,000. That is shockingly low to me. And it kind of says that in the story. It's that's not cheap, but it kind of pales in comparison to the valuations of these other famous diamonds. Like the Hope diamond is 200 million, they would think. And these French crown jewel diamonds are 60 million. What is so wrong with the Habsburg one? $700,000
is nothing.
That doesn't sound right, but
No.
I mean, ArtNet is...
That's so lame.
Okay. Maybe we'll cut this. This undermines the whole episode, okay? I mean, now I'm kind of hey, Zita, get this appraised. Okay? You're stressing about this your whole life.
But that just does not sound right.
It doesn't sound right.
I mean, how is that possible?
I feel like you could cut it in half and it would be worth that. Huh?
It would be worth more. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you appraise diamonds or where these valuations come from, but
because it's not for sale anyway or something.
$700,000 is within the realm of possibility of people in my life to afford.
Or I feel
it's a lot of money and whatever, but it's not astronomical.
Yeah, there's a lot of paintings that you could not buy for that. Many.
Yeah, no.
I just don't.
I question
this
that.
Is the real wrong that must be righted here to me. Okay? Huh? All right. I mean, I guess it's that 136 carats. If you get to that 137th carat, it adds $200. The diminishing returns here, it's not, I don't know what's going on.
I mean, I guess it's only worth as much as somebody's going to pay for it. And we did just discuss, put a light on it and forget it exists. So
I didn't help, did I? Okay. Well,
we've devalued
arguing with myself. Yeah. Well, okay. That's the story of the Florentine Diamond, the jewel that vanished, except not really.
And that's it for our show, so thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, share with your friends or leave us a 5-star review. And if you didn't like it then, well, don't worry about that review.
You can find us on social medias, Vienna Past and Prez on Instagram, or send us your episode ideas at viennapastandpresent@gmail.com.
Auf Wiedersehen, viert euch, Baba.
Bye. Vijayanagar Kingdom. Do it again. Probably from
Vijayanagar? I don't know.
Yeah, probably from the Vijayanagar Kingdom.
Okay, now you straight said vagina.
No. Okay, no.
I think it's Vijayanagar or something like that.
Okay, that's not what the pronunciation guide said.
Oh,
but
really?
Okay, yes.
Okay.
But let's do that because I think that's actually, let's just err the side of that. Okay, it's probably the Vijayanagar Kingdom